Hello, dear students. Today, let us discuss emotional development. Emotions and early social development. What role do emotions play in early social development? Clearly, a baby's display of emotion serves a communicative function that is likely to affect the behavior of caregivers. For example, cries of distress summon close companions. Early suggestions of a smile or expressions of interest may convince caregivers that their baby is willing and even eager to strike up a social relationship with them. Later expressions of fear or sadness may indicate that the infant is insecure or feeling blue and needs some attention or comforting. Anger may imply that the infant wishes her companions to cease whatever they are doing that is upsetting her. Joy serves as a prompt for caregivers to prolong an ongoing interaction or perhaps signal the baby's willingness to accept new challenges. Infant emotions are adaptive in that they promote social contact and help caregivers to adjust their behavior to the infant's needs and goals. The emotional expressions of infancy help infants and their close companions get to know each other. An infant's emerging ability to recognize and interpret others' emotions is an important achievement that enables him or her to infer how he or she should be feeling or behaving in a variety of situations. Emotional competence. Emotional competence is related to the concept from social psychology called emotional intelligence or EQ. EQ involves perceiving emotions, facilitating thinking, understanding emotions, and managing emotions. Emotional competence, as studied by developmentalists, has three components. One, competent emotional expressivity. This is the frequent expressions of more positive emotions and relatively infrequent displays of negative ones. So mas maraming positive emotion yung ine-express no, ng bata or ng isang tao. Next, we have competent emotional knowledge or the ability to correctly identify other people's feelings and the factors responsible for those emotion. No? Yung kaya mong makita or malaman kung yung tao ba nagagalit, sad ba siya, takot ba siya, or masaya siya. Diba? And you know the factors responsible for those emotions. And then the last, we have competent emotional regulation. The ability to adjust one's experience and expression of emotional arousal to an appropriate level of intensity to successfully achieve one's goals. Paano mo mareregulate yung fear mo, yung anger mo, yung joy mo? Diba kung lalaki ka, hindi ka basta-basta iiyak or kung galit ka, hindi mo rin, ire-regulate mo lang yung anger mo. Hindi mo siya um, ilalabas ng sobra or exaggerated. Or kung masaya ka, meron lang masaya na level na, tamang level ng ah, expression ng saya, ng lungkot, at saka ng takot. Next, we have social competence. Social competence is the ability to achieve personal goals in social interactions while continuing to maintain positive relationships with others. Research has consistently revealed that each of these components ng mga emotional competence is related to children's social competence. Example, children who express predominantly positive affect and relatively little anger or sadness tend to be appraised more favorably by teachers and to establish more favorable relationships with peers than those who are angry, sad, or otherwise moody much of the time. Ayaw natin ng mga bata o kaya mga tao na moody, no? Parating galit o kaya parating malungkot. Mas gugustuhin natin yung mga bata na kaya niyang kontrolin yung expression niya ng emotion.
Children who score high on tests of emotional understanding tend to be rated high in social competence by their teacher and to display social skills that enable them to easily make friends and establish positive relations with their classmates. So yung mga bata na mataas ang EQ, mas kaya nilang makipagkaibigan. Tapos gusto rin sila ng mga teacher nila. And then yung mga bata naman na who have difficulty regulating their emotion, no, particularly yung batang laging galit, they are often rejected by peers, no? Mahirap silang makahanap ng friends or ayaw ng mga tao sa kanila, ayaw ng mga ibang bata sa kanila. So, ang mangyayari, they face adjustment problems like over-impulsivity, general lack of self-control, inappropriate aggression, anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. So, class, yung emotional competence is very important and this is established habang bata pa sila. No? Yung ability ng bata na maka-identify ng emotion, mag-express ng tamang emotion. At saka kung yung level ng emotion na ipapakita nila. Kasi pagka lumaki sila, kung hindi nila na-regulate ng bata, pwede silang i-reject ng peers. Mahirapan sila makipagkaibigan. Plus, pagka nasa school, negative ang tingin sa kanila ng mga teacher at saka ng kanilang mga classmate, kahit mga kalaro nila.
Next, we're going to talk about temperament. This is a person's characteristic modes of responding emotionally and behaviorally to environmental events, including such attributes as activity level, irritability, fearfulness, and sociability. Now, according to psychologists, temperament is this is an emotional and behavioral building blocks of the adult personality. So, pwede ko ano yung temperament ng bata. Yun ang pwedeng personality niya pag okay, di ba? As parents and daycare providers know, every baby has a distinct personality. Iba-iba, no? If you ask your mother, Nanay, kamusta ba ako nung bata ako? Kagaya ko ba si ate? Kagaya ko ba si kuya? Di ba? You will hear stories na yung ikaw mahirap kang patahanin, no? Mahirap kang patulugin. Yung mga ganun na sinasabi ng mga magulang natin. Okay, in trying to describe infant personality, researchers have focused on this aspect of temperament, no? Di ba may mga bata na tawa ng tawa, lagi nakasmile, o kaya yung iba iyakin. Yung iba, ayaw sumama, no? Kapag kami kumukuha sa kanila. Yung iba, yung sa Tagalog, meron tayong tawag doon, sumpong, no? Yung pagka yung bata, minsan ayaw, hindi siya cooperative. No? Temperament would also refer to regularity or predictability of bodily functions like sleeping, eating, and bowel function. May mga bata na mahirap patulugin, mahirap patahanin, ayaw kumain, o kaya madaling pakainin. That's also part of temperament. We have 3 types of temperament, no? The first one is easy temperament. Temperamental profile in which the child quickly establishes regular routines, is generally good-natured, and adapts easily to novelty. Pag sinabi natin novelty, yung mga bago, no? Halimbawa, meron siyang laruan. No? Sa una, magugulat siya. Pero, eventually, gusto na niya yung toy niya. Okay. Itong mga may easy temperament na bata, ito yung mga easygoing children. Pag sinabing even-tempered, no, lagi silang may positive mood, at saka open and adaptable to new experiences. Their habits are regular and predictable. Ibig sabihin, kapag ka matutulog yan ng gabi, predictable, no? Kapag pagkadede, matutulog na kaagad, konti lang yung mga iyak niya, nasa oras ang tulog niya, nasa oras ang gising niya. Tapos lagi siyang masaya kasi meron siyang positive mood. Kaya nga easy, no? Pagka ganito yung mga bata na may easy temperament, napakadali lang nitong alagaan. Wala tong masyadong pasakit or pahirap dun sa kanyang mga magulang. Kasi nga, madaling nakaka-adapt yung bata na may easy temperament. Next, we have difficult temperament. Temperamental profile in which the child is irregular in daily routines and adapts slowly to new experiences. They often respond negatively and intensely. No, itong mga difficult na children, no, they're very active, irritable, and they have irregular in their habits, no? Konting galaw mo lang, maiinis na siya. Pwedeng malikot din tong bata to, no? Pwedeng pagka pinatulog mo, pag pinakain mo, mahirap pakainin, mahirap siyang patulugin, no? Ito yung parang this is the extreme ng bata na may easy temperament, no? They often react very vigorously to changes in routine and are very slow to adapt to new persons or situations. Ito yung mga batang mahirap alagaan, mahirap patulugin, mahirap pakainin. Hindi mo alam kung ano ang gusto. No, minsan itong gusto niya, minsan ayaw niya. Kasi nga hindi nga rin siya, nahihirapan siyang maka-adapt sa mga experiences. And then, kapag ka may babaguhin ka, negative ang dating nung bata dun sa mga changes na gagawin mo. Next, we have the slow to warm up temperament. This is a temperamental profile in which the child is inactive and moody and displays mild passive resistance to new routines and experiences. These children are quite inactive, no, compared dun sa may difficult temperament. They are also moody and can be slow to adapt to new persons and situations. But unlike the difficult child, they typically respond to novelty in mildly rather than intensely negative ways. Example, um, pagka yayakapin mo siya, no, pwedeng hindi siya titingin sa'yo rather than kicking or screaming. Kasi yung mga naninipa at saka yung mga sumisigaw, sila yung mga may difficult temperament. So, if you're going to categorize this, no, yung degree, so we have easy, nasa gitna si slow to warm up, and then yung difficult yung pinaka extreme. So, bakit kaya siya tinawag na slow to warm up, no? Parang um, kung sa sasakyan, kailangan painitin mo muna bago siya umandar, no? Kasi um, etong bata na slow to warm up, medyo passive siya, no? Passive lang yung resistance niya compared dun sa mga bata na may difficult temperament. So, madaling alagaan, may easy temperament, mahirap alagaan, yung may difficult temperament. Etong slow to warm up, papakiramdaman mo rin siya, no? Kung ano yung gusto nitong batang to. Kasi moody rin siya.
What is an emotional attachment? John Bowlby uses the term to describe the strong affectional ties that we feel with the special people in our lives. People who are securely attached take pleasure in their interactions and feel comforted by their partner's presence in times of stress or uncertainty. Kapag na-stress ka, sinong una mong hahanapin? Friend mo ba? Nanay mo ba? Partner mo, no? Sino yung tao na pwedeng mag-comfort sa'yo na hindi awkward? Hindi pwede yung ibang tao dyan, no? Hindi pwede yung stranger. These are special people. Pag sinabing special, siya rin yung treatment sa'yo, special. Most probably, ka-close mo yan. Okay? Bowlby also stressed that parent-infant attachments are reciprocal relationships. Infants become attached to parents, and parents become attached to infants. Again, parents or caregivers should be very sensitive to the needs of the baby or an infant. The problem nowadays, we have technology. Instead na makipag-interact tayo sa mga anak natin, we tend to give them gadget na hindi kayang makaform ng special bond. Kaya nagkakaroon ng emotional incompetence yung mga bata ngayon. Cognitively, no? Cognitively, okay sila because of the technology. Pero pagdating naman sa EQ, bagsak. Assessing attachment security. The most widely used technique for measuring the quality of attachments that 1 to 2-year-olds have established with their parents or other caregivers is Mary Ainsworth's strange situation. The strange situation consists of a series of 8 episodes that attempt to simulate 1. Naturalistic caregiver-infant interactions in the presence of toys, 2. Brief separations from the caregiver and encounters with strangers, and 3. Reunion episodes, whether a stressed infant derives any comfort and reassurance from the caregiver, and can once again become involved with toys. By recording and analyzing an infant's responses to these episodes, exploratory activities, reactions to strangers and to separations, and in particular behaviors when reunited with a close companion, it is usually possible to characterize his or her attachment to the caregiver in one of four ways. We have secure attachment, resistant attachment, avoidant attachment, and disorganized or disoriented attachment. Secure base. A secure base, a term developed by British psychologist John Bowlby, refers to the attachment we develop as children to our caregivers. Our secure base is where we start from in order to go out into the world, safe in the knowledge that we have a secure base to return to if needed. Bowlby explained that, in essence, this parenting role is one of being available, ready to respond when called upon to encourage and perhaps assist, but to intervene actively only when clearly necessary. Ideally, sana yung mga parents natin ganito, no? Lagi silang available kapag kailangan natin sila, nandyan sila. Tapos, ine-encourage tayo at ina-assist tayo. At bihira silang mangialam sa mga affairs natin. Pero kapag ka nasaktan tayo, nagkamali tayo, pabalik tayo sa kanila. Alam natin na tatanggapin din tayo at hindi tayo pababayaan. A simple example of a secure base in action is to watch toddlers wandering around new surroundings. They often wander a little on their own and then look back to find mom. Feeling safe and reassured, they wander out a bit more and check back again to see if mom is still in view. Mom likewise keeps an eye on them. Mom is essentially the toddler's secure base, a place of safety and security which can be relied upon. Kapag yung mga bata naglalaro, lumalayo sila, baka sa playground, no, titingnan nila, pasulyap-sulyap yan dun sa mga nagbabantay sa kanila. Alam nila na kapag nandyan yung nanay nila, nakikita pa nila, okay pa sila. Diba? Pero pagka once na hindi na nila nakita, matatarantay ang mga bata na yan. We all need a secure base. If we've had good enough parenting, then we've normally been able to take our positive experiences and internalize our own secure base as we become adults. This internalization is key for us to be able to cope with the many twists and turns we may face in our lives. But unfortunately, not all of us experience this kind of parenting. Sometimes our caregivers were unable to provide a secure base for us. We as toddlers might have looked back to find mom, only to discover she had disappeared. Our caregivers might have been inconsistent in their care and simply unable to provide us with the reassurance and comfort we all need as children. Home may not have been a refuge of safety but a war zone to escape from. So yung issue ngayon ng mga OFW na parents, di ba wala sila tapos biglang mag-iiba yung mga nag-aalaga sa mga bata, mahirap yung mga ganun. Kasi kung halimbawa ang secure base mo yung nanay mo tapos nag-OFW, mahihirapan ka na, no? Mahirap mag-adapt o kaya mag-adjust. This is the 8th episodes of The Strange Situation. Sa episode 1, experimenter introduces parent and baby to playroom and leaves. Episode 2, parent sits while baby plays. Yung parent yung secure base. Episode 3, stranger enters, sits, and talks to parent. Magkakaroon yung bata ng stranger anxiety kasi may ibang tao. Episode 4, parent leaves, stranger offers comfort if the baby upset. Magkakaroon siya ng separation anxiety kasi umalis yung nanay niya. Episode 5, parent returns, greets baby, and offers comfort if baby is upset. Stranger leaves. Magkakaroon yung bata ng reunion behaviors kasi bumalik na yung nanay niya. Episode 6, parent leaves room. Magkakaroon ulit ng separation anxiety yung bata. And then episode 7, stranger enters and offers comfort. No, titignan dito yung ability to be soothed by stranger. And then the last episode, parent returns, greets baby, offers comfort if necessary, and tries to interest baby in toys. Nagkakaroon, so check ulit yung kanyang reunion behaviors. Yung episode 2 through 8 last for 3 minutes each. Although separation episodes may be cut short and reunion episodes may be expanded for babies who become extremely upset. Ibig sabihin kapag ka nagwala na yung baby, no, sobrang umiyak na kapag ka umalis yung nanay nila, hinihinto na, no, or binabawasan yung time for this experiment. So these are the 4 category nung strange situation. Number 1, we have secure attachment. The securely attached infant actively explores while alone with the mother and may be visibly upset by separations. The infant often greets the mother warmly when she returns and, if highly distressed, often seeks physical contact with her, which helps to alleviate that stress. The child is outgoing with strangers while the mother is present. Yung resistant attachment, these infants try to stay close to their mother but explore very little when she is present. They become very distressed as the mother departs, but when she returns, the infants are ambivalent. They remain near her although they seem angry at her for having left them and are likely to resist physical contact initiated by the mother. Resistant infants are quite wary of strangers even when their mothers are present. Yung avoidant attachment, these infants also display an insecure attachment. They often show little distress when separated from the mother and will generally turn away from and may continue to ignore their mothers even when their mothers try to gain their attention. Avoidant infants are often rather sociable with strangers, but may sometimes avoid or ignore them in much the same way that they avoid or ignore their mothers. Yung last, disorganized or disoriented attachment. These attachment patterns are most stressed by the strange situation and who may be the most insecure. It appears to be a curious combination of the resistant and the avoidant patterns that reflects confusion about whether to approach or avoid the caregiver. When reunited with their mothers, these infants may act dazed and freeze, or they may move closer but then abruptly move away as the mother draws near, or they may show both patterns in different reunion episodes.